Ça est important. Pour moun qui a vécu des conditions comme diabète, pression, malche puis cancer, préparez corps et puis restez préparé. Commission ça là, qu'arrive bonne volonté.
The public is hereby informed of the regulations for the Soufriere jetties. The jetties are managed by the Soufriere Foundation. Operational hours are between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. daily. During these hours, no unauthorized personnel will be allowed on the jetties. No vending, no loitering, and no visitor harassment will be tolerated. The main and boardwalk jetties are to be used for the disembarkment of visitors to Soufriere and therefore should be a safe zone for all. Anyone found violating these regulations will be prosecuted. As part of the mandate of the Soufriere Foundation to preserve and enhance the attraction sites in Soufriere, 2 garbage bins were placed at the waterfront to accommodate small garbage disposals such as paper plates, plastic cups, bottles, and wrappers. The public is advised that there should be no disposal of household or commercial waste. The waterfront area does not contain a public disposal site. Offenders will be prosecuted.
You asked for more live and relevant talk shows, and we heard you. 88.5 Soufriere FM presents House Guest, a brand new fresh fortnightly feature airing on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. House Guest will showcase a cadre of professionals from doctors and entrepreneurs to the next door friendly neighbor. So tune in as we network the community with a platform for open, frank, and informative discussion. Only on Soufriere FM, your community radio station.
Soufriere FM is now 6 minutes after the hour of 10 a.m. in Soufriere St. Lucia in the Eastern Caribbean. Good morning to you listeners. It's a beautiful Wednesday and it's the 28th of September 2022. With me, Mr. Raymond Regis. Good morning to you. It's a pleasure to have you grace me here with your presence. I know you're awfully busy and I sincerely appreciate you being here. For persons, of course, who may have missed out last week in terms of what is happening this evening at 6 p.m., I know you're here to remind the public and also to offer for persons who are interested in maybe showcasing the piece in whatever way they can, they may feel free to do so. Again, good morning to you. Good morning to our listeners and online, of course. Good morning to you guys.
Good morning, and let me thank you for having me in studio this morning. As you're aware, the Soufriere Action Theatre presents a Vigil Anniversary celebration of our brother, former member of the group, Irvin Wadada Alexis, and also in celebration of the death and contribution of brother George Ordulam. This is an activity we have been having annually, but as we're aware, because of COVID, we took a 2-year hiatus. And we're back, and we want to make a good presentation, knowing that we have been out for a while. So we're going all out to ensure that it is something going. And that's why we're here this morning, to appeal to the public to turn out to be part of this celebration this evening, happening at the Town Square, starting around 6:30 p.m. onwards. That at the Town Square.
Definitely. And of course, the weather is actually doing us some justice. The sun is out, so persons can turn out in large numbers. Just a rundown as to what can they anticipate, with, again, if they may have missed it last week, what can they look forward to? I know SAC obviously will be there performing their drums and stuff. Poetry was made mention of as well, so if that's still on the table.
Let's give blessings. As we're aware, we have been having some heavy rains for the past 2 days, and this morning we we said, before we pulled the plug from last night, we said, let's look at the weather. And it was blessing this morning to get up when we have good sunshine. And we're going ahead. Give thanks and praise. This evening, we have what's called a tribute, where group members will personally give tribute to our past member, that is Irvin Alexis, and also to Brother George. We will be also having the family of Irvin Alexis through via the technology, via social media to make a tribute to his father. And one thing we recognized last night, I guess it's fitting to have this celebration, because it was only 10 years ago that it's a milestone, 10 years ago that he passed. And so the family will be making a contribution. We'll be also having recordings, audio recordings, video recordings of Brother George and his famous speeches. So we're having a few of these things. So people will be actually listening and hearing some of his conversation, interviews, and stuff like this. We'll be having all of these things. Also, the group will be making some presentation for drumming, poetry, and song.
And I'm correct to say all this activity definitely starts at 6. We have an issue when it comes to time.
The way the program is structured is that we're planning to start at 6:30. So we will be having an overhead projector with, like I said, with recordings and stuff like this. So as people walk in, this will already be up and going, and people could be watching and listening. And as we're moving on to the program, then the group will make their presentation and everything will flow. That's what. Also, we'll be planning to have a DJ on hand to play music and stuff like this.
Okay, as one of the pioneers as well, we know there were always challenges. How excited are you? And if there are, I'm sure by now you've been able to maybe have navigated through most of them to actually get you all set for this evening.
Well, yeah, like in every planning, you always have challenges. For example, getting material prepared, using the technology and stuff like this to prepare. Like I'm presently working on a PowerPoint presentation, trying to get material from various sources to ensure that everything is in sync, and knowing that at times the technology usually fails us. So we have to go and download all this material. So rather than just going trying to get it live, we download all these materials and put them in order, put them according to in order so that it can flow from one to the other. And that has been kind of challenging, but everything is set to go.
Definitely. Can you also speak to support as well, who really has been enabling such an initiative aside from the group itself?
One thing we do, how much small we did stretch our hands out there to see whether we could get any support. I would like to take this opportunity to personally thank Yasha Trubiscoff, who made a contribution toward refreshment this evening. We having Jolly Jose songs coming from the South coming and assist us in this regard. I also like to shout out the teachers at my school who assisted me in preparing the PowerPoint presentation.
Thank you very much, sir. Any other talking points you may have had, as far as that is concerned?
I didn't get that clearly.
Any other talking points as far as the Soufriere Action Theatre is concerned? The last time Steve Ako was there, he made mention of persons are not really recognizing the work that you guys do. Maybe getting your viewpoints on that as well too. Do you think a lot of the work is going unnoticed, and how or what can be put out there for persons to be more welcoming in terms of wanting to be part of it?
SAT has always been a group that is encouraging people to want to support this program, to be part of the program. We have been having difficulties in recruiting members. That's why presently we are embarking on a program. Especially we have young people out there that tend to find themselves in situations they're not supposed to. And we recognize that, and then we are trying to put up a program to get these people into the group. But at times, when we face is that where proposal and program is written up and seeking sponsorship to ensure that these programs are unfold, we find ourselves in difficulties, because some of these programs you need to have resources, personnel to carry out workshop and stuff like this, and these things tend to be costly. In the past, we have invested heavily in doing this program. That's why we had a stop because of the finance aspect of it. But we are now trying to see whether we get agencies out there to assist us in that regard. We have been here for a long time. We have done a lot, but there's still more that can be done, and we recognize that. And in our small way, we're trying to make a contribution within the community.
Definitely, and let me applaud you on that as well. And of course, with fresh minds come fresh ideas as well. The excitement is there. Crayola is approaching. I know you guys are always excited to have your masquerade. Maybe give me a tip of the iceberg on that.
What we have decided to our contribution to Crayola, we have been approached by a number of groups to perform, but because of our resources and COVID and hitters, we find our material are not in top shape. So what we have decided is our contribution is that we go in around, see how things go, and see what we can do. But also one of the major activity we want to undertake, and I have coined it as the Jabori, where we looked at young people within the community, and we'll be having an audition sometimes in October, the week before Crayola. We infuse it into the General Cafe, where we'll be having audition at the Soufriere Primary School. We're inviting youngsters between the age of 11, 12, going on till as old as whatever you can, to come in, where you audition, whether in dance, drum, or you just been part of the group and want to make a contribution. Because like earlier on I said that we find ourselves limited when it comes to numbers, and we find that now it is important, especially presently now, it's important to get people on board. Especially I'm appealing to these young boys that have the talent and they are wrong and they want to be part of an organization to showcase the talent, whether it's in music, in drumming, or even in the performing arts, because SAT have also been known not only in drumming, not only upholding the community, the masquerade, but also in popular theater, and actually theater where we put on plays and stuff like this. Yeah.
I definitely agree. But then to a young persons looking on the outside, they may just see it as a group of old men just beating drums and doing their thing. So I think it needs maybe a revamp and upgrade, like something they can definitely want to jump on board with. Because even when you ask the young guys and they don't pay much attention, they'll be, oh, these guys, I don't understand anything that they do. They're just beating drums or just creating noise, more or less.
Again, to be part of such group, it has to be a level of consciousness. Sorry. And within the community, I always believe there are individuals that tend to, that have level of consciousness. Talking to some individual one-on-one, you could see the knowledge there, the interest is there. I think we as a group, we have to be more determined, more diligent, more committed in ensuring that we get these young people into the action. Also with the support of the community, by highlighting or informing or educating them on the work that we have done, could also go a long way. Because sometimes you might find that our people are our own enemy, because rather than talking positive, they tend to talk negative. And I think if we need to move as a community, everybody has to be on board.
Definitely, all the time. Erase the negativity and bring in more positivity. You mentioned an enrollment, more or less, and I think it's good having it start in schools. If by means of a letter that can be sent to the various schools. And you mentioned as young as they are, so maybe from the infant school level up until the secondary. I think that's a great initiative as well. And again, this is the only thing culturally that is happening in Soufriere, and other communities are maybe actually looking to emulate such, and I think it's a great thing. And even given the fact, what's your sentiments as well, Jeune Creole, happening right here in your neighboring community of Choisela? You guys will be performing and stuff as well?
We did in the last meeting when we realized that Sozel is next door. What was said that somebody did call asking about our involvement, knowing that we are in the neighboring community. We have not taken a definite conclusion as to whether we participate or not, but that we have some time and that can be looked at. Yeah.
Taking you outside the box, as an educator, do you think enough emphasis is being placed when it comes to hitting home with the Creole language being taught in school and even embracing our own culture?
Again, like I said, sometimes we are our worst enemy. Creole is part of us. It is there to stay, whether we like it or not. It is infused in the culture. It is within us. And I've always learned at times as a teacher, at times to bring certain concept across, you have to bring in the Creole, at least for the students to get it. Or sometimes you have to start with the Creole for them to get it and then transfer that knowledge into the English. So I believe that Creole have its part, and it's important that we, as a community, as a nation, embrace it and see how we can go forward. Because as we are aware that other nations in the world, they usually they consider the first language is also integral in their development, and they use it as a stepping stone.
I definitely need some lessons in Creole. I do not understand everything, and I have a hard time at speaking it. So I'm always struggling when Jeune Creole come, and even the month of October when you have, everything is practically in Creole, and you bite your tongue, you say something, and it's not even that. You're just like a lost sheep. So I would love to actually get,
And I so believe that
great appreciation for that.
Yeah, and I so believe that we tend only to think of the culture, the Creole culture, and whatever it brings to us during Creole Heritage Month. And I think that it should be something come naturally a part of us. This practice is supposed to become naturally so. So when the month comes, it will not be something sudden and something shock to us. Okay, boy, we have to do that, we have to do that. It will maybe, if we make it part of us, it naturally flows and it becomes a normal practice. And in that way, we as a community grow. So when people come across, no matter what time of the year they come across to our island, we're already showcasing our culture, showcasing our natural heritage. So they understand it, and when they leave with something, not during Jeune Creole. It's supposed to be something natural, become a natural part of us.
Which is true, and again, it takes you as an educator to actually maybe impart that knowledge as well. So a lot of the times, yes, we wait for October to have that hype and everything is Creole and dressing up nicely, in all the cultural, mantras and everything else. But really and truly, we need to be more cognizant as well and have it throughout. Let it just become a habit instead of just on a specific occasion, for sure. We've seen a lot of children, schools, delinquent behavior. Why do you think that is so? In terms of we've lost our values, and again taking it back to culture, and we've lost touch even with our own selves, because the children and the parents, sometimes there's no network. And you correct a child, for example, they go home to the parent coming to quarrel with the teacher, insults and all those different things. I think way back, those cultures or even customs were not allowed. but now it has become such a habit that we're just plagued by it. So your sentiments on that as a teacher? Maybe you've had your own scenario.
I realize that you are diverted a bit, but anyway, I will make my contribution to the matter. It is something that we as an educator, even, I will not put it like the whole committee, but there are people in the community that are aware of what you're saying, and I have had conversation with me, and boy, how can we change this type of behavior? And to a certain extent is that it's a number of factors. I don't think that we could just boil it down into one factor, one reason or not. What I find is that growing up as a youngster, I have been in the education system for over, let me see, I entered here for about 40 years or so. Yeah. And growing up as a little boy, I know my values, my morals. Up to this day, I always tell my young ones that it was instilled in me from home. And wherever I go, I know I will have to behave in a certain manner, in a certain way. And if I deviated from that, that matter will be taken care of at home. But now you have children growing up and not understanding this moral, these values, and you don't have parents and trying to enforcing these. For example, let me give you an example. For example, I remember I was listening to a young guy, and he asked the child that, I asked the young boy the question, where is your aunt? She's at church. That was a Saturday evening. So I said, why are you not at church with your aunt? He replied, he tell me church is boring, I don't want to go to church. And I believe when I growing up, and by Saturday or Sunday morning, whether you want it or not, whether you like it or not, you have to attend church. Saturday evening, sometimes you're on your own, your parents not going. And don't never think that you'll not go to church or stand by the church outside in the square. The message will reach home that you are not there and that will be taken care of now. But now you have little toddlers at time making their decision at a tender age. For example, right in the school there, for child telling him already, see, that's what you put in the lunch bag? I do not want that. And the parents have to go to the shop and buy whatever the child wants. So we have to, sometimes we believe that we're doing good. It's all well, your parents, you want to be nice, you want to ensure that your child, but at times we have to be careful, very careful also, to what we do and how we do it.
Definitely. 88.5 Soufriere FM, 27 minutes after the hour of 10 a.m. in Soufriere St. Lucia and the Eastern Caribbean. If you're just joining us, Mr. Raymond Regis inside of today's house guest. And of course, the main purpose for his visit is to remind the public of what's happening this evening, a tribute to Wadada, Alexis, Mr. Alexis that is, and George Odlam.
Yes.
Before we narrow down the discussion, and time is always a factor.
Yeah, I was just saying that it is the reason why, one of the reasons why we remember Brother George is that in the various speeches, this gentleman was just like Soufriere Action Theatre. Understand that people, the love of people and wanting people to do well was something that he held close and dearly, wanted people to go forward. And I remembered one of your speeches, he made mention about we're not supposed to allow the politician to divide us according to color. We're supposed to be as one, and whatever we do it as one. And there are examples for the stuff that he spoke about. And presently, let's look at St. Jude presently, and how administration upon administration coming in and fighting over as to what have not done that, what's supposed to do that, and we are not going anywhere. Why, as a nation, we rally, all of us rally as one, ensuring that for once and for all, this hospital issue is done, dusted. We have a hospital, we move on, we take care of our sick people, we take care of our sick nation, whoever sick, then we have somewhere to go and we know that this is taken care of and we move forward. Why not? Why not come as one? And that was what one of the things he stand for.
Strong point. What can I say for sure? Health is wealth, and it's a paramount interest to actually build on that wealth for the sake of the nation. Leaving you with an appeal once more, and any other comments you may have, now is the time to do so.
Well, I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity to come to give a last promotion shout out to the Soufriere community to come out and witness the Vigil Anniversary celebration of Irving Wadada Alexis, 10 years since he passed. And did you know that he was a former employee of the Soufriere Regional Development Foundation?
Yes, I'm quite aware.
Yes, so.
I had a fair share working with him.
Okay, good. And also Brother George Odlam, who have made his contribution on shape and landscape of this island. Once again, I would like to thank you for giving me the opportunity. So I'm calling everybody out to tonight at 6:40 at the Soufriere Town Square. Let's make something of a difference. Thank you very much.
10:30 a.m. in Soufriere and Lucia in the Eastern Caribbean. This has been Mr. Raymond Regis, Soufriere Action Theatre. Again, please be reminded to come out to the town square this evening, 6:30 p.m. is the place to be. Come and pay homage to two great men, sons of the soil.
You asked for more live and relevant talk shows, and we heard